Makeup Forever Powder Foundation, new versus old. I'm excited because the old version, the matte velvet skin, was my favorite powder foundation. It looked beautiful on the skin as a foundation, but it also sets the makeup flawlessly. So I'm excited to try the new formula. They call it the HD Skin Matte Velvet Undetectable 24-hour Blurring Powder Foundation. So the difference, we were looking 1-to-1. The old was a 16-hour wear test, and it didn't have any waterproof or sweat humidity claims. And the new one is waterproof with sweat humidity claims with a 24-hour wear test. Intrigued and excited. They don't have the original shades, the names. So I had to kind of pick and choose, and I had to buy 2 shades that would kind of match the old one. 1 and 10, so neutral, and this one is 1R02, which is red undertones, or rosy, not red, rosy. And this original one I have is R220. So left side, original, right side, new. And I'm not going to use the makeup sponges that they provide. In my experience with this foundation, I do prefer a dense foundation brush to get the most skin-like finish. It's not gonna look as powdery, and I do like that I have a little bit more control with a dense foundation brush, and I will be using my new favorite, Rose & Ben C42 brush. All right, let's go in with the new, and I am gonna be mixing both shades together. That's just one little dip. Let's do a second dip. Like so. There she is. I'm gonna work that in, just very gently pack that in. Let's do it. Already have my cream contour on, along with my concealer. Cream contour, Westman Atelier Contour Stick in shade Biscuit. And then concealers, I actually mixed Flower Beauty Get Real Serum Concealer along with Huda Beauty's hashtag Full Filter Concealer. I like it best by pressing into my skin. And again, I'm mixing the 2 shades. That is so satisfying. Blurs everything. Wow, that is pretty. I'm loving the before and after. The after is very airbrushed. Honestly, looks like I have a filter on my face and on my skin. But when you get really up close, the texture of my skin is not exaggerated. The peach fuzz is not exaggerated. And I have some dry spots right here around my nose, and basically where my pores are, not exaggerated. I did prep with just my regular skincare that I had been wearing. I don't have a primer underneath, but I'm impressed with how this is looking. Pretty undetectable. But I will say a foundation brush, a dense foundation brush, will give you that beautiful skin-like finish for a powder. Wow, that is really pretty. Color corrected, it looks very airbrushed, very blurred. It definitely looks matte, and I don't really see a lot of glow peeking through, but it will, because it is a powder, and it does like to kind of melt into my skin as the time goes on. All right, switching brushes. Let's take the old matte velvet skin by Makeup Forever. I just have a question for you guys. When you type in Makeup Forever, do you type in Make Up Forever, or do you do Makeup Forever? 2 words instead of 4. We always do 2 words. So on this side, like I said, we only have the 1 shade, and it's a good shade for my skin. But let's cover up the areas where I need the most, basically color correcting or just evening out my skin tone, which is around my cheeks. I'm pretty much doing just stamping motions. You can see it's not going really heavy. Kind of feel like the new formula, the HD Skin Matte Velvet Foundation, it has a little bit more coverage. And I'm doing like 2 taps to kind of mimic, you know, the 1 and 2 shades. It's similar enough in terms of texture and finish. Yeah, I think the only difference is the coverage. I feel like I got an even faster coverage with the new foundation versus the old. Like, do you see that right there? I feel like I keep building this area up and I'm not getting as much coverage with the brush. I think it looks similar enough, which is good. It's just I had to apply a lot more. I'm gonna take a little bit more and just make sure to set my concealer. Okay, so it does look like makeup and foundation on my skin, especially powder foundation. It's very matte, it's very one-dimensional. So let's add a little bit of blush. I'm going to use the new Charlotte Tilbury, her Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Wands. I think I'm gonna mix these 2 shades. So let's do Pink Pop and Dream Pop. Just have the blush on the back of my hand. I'm gonna take my Rose & Ben C41 blush brush and work that into the brush. Makeup by Mario lip liner in shade Lauren. These L'Oreal lipsticks I picked up recently. They're Glow Paradise Balm in Lipstick in shade 130. This has been my jam lately. Matches that lip liner almost perfectly. But the formula is stunning. I just like these because it's so easy to reapply throughout the day, and they're so comfortable. So comfortable. They're beautiful. I like these a lot. But this shade in particular, 130, is my love lately. So I will say I prefer the right side with the new Makeup Forever HD Skin Matte Velvet Foundation because I think the colors look better on my skin tone, sitting on my skin tone. On the left side with the original, I feel like right here, and I think you'll pick it up on camera, it looks a little too light and it's kind of looking patchy and uneven, versus this side, everything looks a little more flawless and even toned. Hopefully you can see that on camera. When they released the new one, they got rid of pretty much all the old shade numbers and names. So you kind of have to like pick and choose. And I had to get 2 of them to get a perfect match for my skin tone, which is unfortunate because these are expensive. What are they, 48 US dollars? 43. They're 43 US dollars. That's a lot for a powder foundation. Okay. We're gonna move on and we're gonna do some wear tests throughout the day. The texture looks pretty good on my skin. It looks really good. I'm looking a little shiny on my forehead. I brought the original powder with me. I do like the new side, the HD side versus the old matte velvet. Like the coverage is still uneven looking. Still looking really good. I'm gonna powder my forehead a little bit. This is what we're looking like 10.5 hours later. Okay, so I didn't really touch up my skin after that first time, but it's looking okay. I think it's looking pretty good for 10.5 hours. With the original formula, the Matte Velvet Skin Powder Foundation by Makeup Forever, that one was good for like 6 to 8 hours without like touch-ups, like too much touch-ups, and without primer. I think the second one, the improved, the reformulated, the 24-hour, the HD Skin Matte Velvet, or the Velvet Matte Powder Foundation, I think that one looks a little more airbrushed and a little less cakey. I think I do like the reformulation. I think it's a little softer, it's a little silkier, and it's easier to build up without looking heavy. From my personal experience with wearing the original Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Powder Foundation, I do prefer to apply it with a dense like foundation brush, like a foundation brush that I was showing you guys. Another really good one, Honest Beauty, their foundation brush is that's a really big, really dense, perfect for powder foundations. What else could I suggest? The e.l.f., the Duo brush. It's a little smaller, but it's dense enough that you can still use it with the powder foundation. And I don't swirl it into my skin. I do the stamping, stippling, tapping motions to get the best result. I don't personally like to use the sponges. I think they're great more for like touch-ups on the go, but I don't like to use it for the initial foundation application because I find that you don't get the best blend, you don't get the best control, and just the overall finish and texture of my skin looks way too heavy, dry, and powdered. I want more of that seamless, silky blend. And yes, you do have to build it up a little bit more with the foundation brush, but I think in the end, you do have a lot more control with how much product and how the product looks on your skin. So you've never tried a dense foundation brush with a powder foundation, like a pressed powder, I think you'll really enjoy that method, especially if you like more on the natural side, but you can also build up the foundation to a really good medium to full coverage. I think this foundation is good for those that have like combination skin like myself. If you have dry skin, I think you'll enjoy this more for like a setting powder, like setting your cheeks, setting your jaw, your chin, your forehead. I personally don't like it too much under my eyes. I find that it's a little too heavy. If you're very oily, you'll have to keep reapplying or use even a mattifying or pore filling smoothing primer underneath this. and then go with the powder foundation on top. I think you'll enjoy that. But all in all, I do still really like the formula. It's still my top tier powder foundation that I think is really good for its money. It's good for a foundation on its own, and it's good for a setting powder for other base products for your face. And I just appreciate that my skin looks really blurred. Yes, there's a little bit of, like, I call it wear and tear from the foundation throughout the day, but it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look extremely heavy and cakey and extremely dry. That's the one thing with powder foundations. I find that my skin looks very dry and very like slick and oily as the day goes on, and it's very hard to fix that for my skin type. Again, I have combination skin, which means T-zone, oily, and then the rest of the face, it's either dry or it's normal. I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you for watching, spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.